Super Microcomputer is up over 170% at the time of making this video with the after hours action. Since the lows back here mid-November under $18, we're now trading closer to $47. This also means that the big gap that we have seen here between Tuesday, October 29th and October 30, that big gap is being filled. What happens next? We don't know. We're probably going to be a little bit overbought on the daily and we're going to get quite close to the 200-day moving average. Now, being overbought doesn't mean much. We've seen stocks being overbought for a long period of time. Even SMCI, as you can see here, at the start of this year, they were overbought for an extremely long period of time and the stock kept going up and up and up. So you can stay overbought for a longer period of time. Now, I've been following the SMCI story quite closely, and I know that most of you think that, oh, I'm short SMCI and stuff like that. Well, no, I've never shorted a stock in my life, and I'm never going to short a stock either because there's no point. What I do in this video is basically provide you the information of what we know today, and sometimes, yes, sometimes I'll compare it to what has happened back in 2018 when the stock did get delisted. Now, if you don't know what happened back in 2018, well, a quick refresh. So this is basically the timeline back in 2018. I did a specific video about that. If you missed that, it's going to be in the top right corner. But basically what happened was about the same thing. The stock went down after certain reports, after filings got delayed, etc., etc. They requested a hearing before the hearings panel. And here you can also see, by the way, this is when they said that they were going to be delisted back in August of 2018. Now, before that, the stock went up 65% plus since the, well, by then bottom at around $1.60 or so. And yet, nothing was filed in this period. Only extensions granted by the Nasdaq panel, announces receipt of the Nasdaq letter and response, and so about the same happens right now, right? We've seen sentiment change a little bit with SMCI. Internal investigation of that special committee of just one person didn't find anything suspicious inside the company, so the stock went up. Here previously also, even before they filed, the stock went up by 65%. But what happened next? Well, what happens next is despite them saying that they expect to file on time, they failed to do so, which we can find right here. May 10th, 2018, Supermicro announces listing extension granted by Nasdaq panel. So, Nasdaq has granted the company's request to continue its listing on Nasdaq through August 24, 2018, subject to the condition that the company becomes current with its SEC filings by that date and informs the panel the company is current with such filings. Fast forward August 23rd, 2018. Supermicro announces suspension of trading of common stock on Nasdaq and its intention to appeal. The company previously announced on August 21st, 2018 that it did not expect to regain compliance with the Nasdaq continued listing requirements by August 24th, 2018, the deadline previously set by the panel. And so, of course, right now the question remains, will they file on time this time? We've already spoken about the fact that they repaid their loans and the reason behind that. There is some speculation, not really speculation because that was part of the deal. You'll have to file on time. If you took out that loan, you'll have to file on time, which basically meant before the end of 2024. So them repaying the loan in advance could mean one. Of course, on the bullish side is they repaid their loan, they don't want to deal with that anymore. On the bearish side, you could say, oh, they repaid the loan early because they know they're not going to file before the end of the year. Of course, right now, it's just speculation, right? We don't know. We'll have to see in a couple of weeks if they did file before the end of the year or not. Now, before continuing, of course, hit all the buttons, like, subscribe, we really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. And I also want to add some extra things because I already know some folks will say, oh, but you were bearish on SMCI under $20. You were bearish SMCI at $20, at $30, etc., etc. Many of your viewers lost money. I can already predict these types of comments. First of all, by not buying a stock, even if the stock goes up, you did not lose money. Okay? These things don't work that way. Second of all, I repeat, I'm just here to provide information. And I also want to point out one thing, and that's this. I did put $1,000 in SMCI at $17.84. Yes, I was up 30% on that position, and I did close it out. Could I have held it until now and make even more money? Yes, but I only put $1,000. I say only because I've seen people put way more, and congratulations on that trade because you're up 170% or so if you really timed the bottom. So me providing information and me viewing this as a gamble and still quite a shady situation does not mean that you cannot make money in these types of situations. I think that's the common misconception here. Just because I'm saying, well, what I believe and I'm providing you with facts of what has happened back in 2018, which basically proved that there was some shady dealings there at SMCI, does not mean that I'm short the stock, does not mean that you cannot gamble and play around with sentiment with short-term trades. No, go ahead. Have fun. It's your money. You can do whatever you want. And congratulations, really congratulations to those of you that are up more than double on your investment, on your bet on SMCI. Because yes, a lot of folks thought that this was going to zero. A lot of folks thought that this would be already delisted. I'm not going to lie, myself included, even though we've seen from the previous timeline back in 2018 that usually you can get an extension and then you'll go, and if not, hearing panel, appeals, etc., etc. So those things usually take some time. So yeah, I just want to make sure before you hit your keyboard, you little keyboard warrior, I hope you understand the whole situation here. Because even now, at $47, even now, just remember one thing. We are not out of the woods yet. Actually, not much has changed. The deadline has changed, but that's about it. They still have not filed anything. And that's basically what happened here on Friday. They announced the receipt of an extension from Nasdaq stock market. The Nasdaq stock market informed the company that Nasdaq has granted the company's request for an exception to Nasdaq's listing rule 5250 through February 25, 2025. The exception gives the company until February 25, 2025 to file its annual report, the 10K, and then also the quarterly one, the 10Q, and any other required filings. The company's common stock will remain listed on the Nasdaq Global Select Market during the exception period. If the company files all the required reports by February 25, 2025, the common stock will remain listed so long as the company remains in compliance with Nasdaq's listings rules. And here they say, black on white, the company currently expects to file all required reports by February 25, 2025. But as we've seen before, they said that before and they failed to do so. Will the same happen here? I don't know. It's definitely a possibility. Now, I do want to say one thing. As the Nasdaq and even the S&P 500, right? The crème de la crème. We had the rebalancing of the S&P 500. And to be honest, this is not me being bearish or expecting to dunk on SMCI. But when certain companies, because to get into the index, into the S&P 500, right? It's supposed to be the best of the best, right? The cream of the crop. And in the meantime, this company is failing to comply with, well, the rules here. So when a rebalancing happens, wouldn't you have thought that, well, another company would come in and replace SMCI? We know SMCI just got in this year in the S&P. But I mean, to be respectful to all the other companies and the companies that are waiting to be included, wouldn't you have expected a rebalancing? Meaning SMCI goes out until this thing gets resolved and another company comes in, right? Seems like the logical step.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
But apparently not, And to be honest, it's quite unfair to all the other companies out there that are not included in the S&P right now, that are waiting to get included, that are in compliance with all the rules. I don't know what's going to happen next. If they file on time, great, congratulations, we move on, and that's great. If they don't file on time, questions need to be asked, right? Questions need to be asked. First of all, you got included in the S&P, which means that the S&P doesn't really do their due diligence at all, because the issues there, probably with Ernst & Young and all of that, were known before they were listed. I don't know if folks make money from all of this. Probably they do, and that's why it went under the radar. But okay, right now, that's it. And one extra thing here. Let me repeat myself again and again. You get delisted, you can still trade it over the counter. You get delisted, you don't go bankrupt. This is also something that I had to mention a couple of weeks ago because some folks thought that, oh, delisting means bankruptcy. No, it's not the case. With SMCI's case, it's even more important here because this is a company that actually provides goods and services. That is quite important in the whole AI semiconductor space, right? And so just because this might get delisted does not mean that this company is going down. No, actually, you can still hold shares. It's just going to be shares that will be traded OTC. So might not have as much liquidity as you have right now. So yeah, remains to be seen. One last thing, and that was actually a post by Charles Liang, the CEO of SMCI. Supermicro is here to support xAI's massive tenfold expansion of the Colossus supercomputer in Memphis with over 1 million GPUs by establishing local operations and production, validation, service, and support. With our optimized data center building blocks and ambient temperature direct liquid cooling, Supermicro Green Computing provides the best AI performance, propelling the future of AI alongside NVIDIA while reducing data center power, space, water, and cost. Stay tuned for more data center scale innovation. Quite interesting, and this was his first post in a long time. So yeah, interesting to see here, but this again reminds you that this is a real company that produces real products, real hardware, not fugazi. Although maybe some of their numbers might be fugazi, the products definitely exist since Colossus exists, since NVIDIA knows that SMCI exists and their products are helping NVIDIA as well. So that's about it. That's basically what you need to know right now. They got the extension. We've seen this play out before. Will the end result be the same this time? Remains to be seen. As of now, congrats to all of you that have traded this to perfection. And to those of you that are still in denial and thinking that this is over, hopefully you open your eyes. Okay? That's about it. When we actually get the filings, we shall look at that. It's going to be quite interesting, to be honest. So yeah, that's about it for me in this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.